Well, patience and perseverance definitely pays off this week. Well, welcome back to Finding America. It is really great to see you back here. Now, before I get into the details of this week's hunt, I know that many of you, including myself, were very curious about that strange coin I found during last week's video. Well, thanks to a couple very sharp and very knowledgeable viewers, Larry Stevens and Richard Mook, I believe we have this piece identified. Now, we believe this came from a group called the Rebecca's. Now, the Rebecca's were the female branch of the Independent Order of Oddfellows. And the Rebecca's used the dove and the lily as symbols of peace and purity. And this piece probably dates from the late 1800s to early 1900s. So, once again, I just want to thank you, Larry and Richard, for all your help in finally figuring out what this very cool coin really was. Well, Chris was feeling much better this weekend, so we decided to meet up to do some impromptu metal detecting at some of our favorite permissions. Now, Chris was really ready to make up for lost time, and he made some really nice finds throughout the day, and even got himself a really sweet bucket lister. Now, things started off a bit slow for me, but with patience and perseverance, well, they paid off for me in a huge way that day. Well, after digging 10 or 11 memorials, I finally got a nice weedy. Looks like it's going to be a 36. So happy to get that finally. And Chris and I we saw a little bit of sidewalk tear out here. There used to be about 4 or 5 houses in a row here. And Chris is all the way down there. I'll have to check in with him, see how he's doing down there. But lots of garbage, lots of pull tabs. And just kind of going through, seeing what we can find. Well, just a little further down the sidewalk here, I am, just to let you know, I'm hunting in Park 1. Pretty much stock settings, and small coil, obviously. Got a 22-23, dug down about 3 inches. I got another weedy, I saw the back of it. And, not sure what the year is. Appears to be in the 50s. I cleaned it off, and actually it's a last year weedy, 1958. So, very cool. A couple of weedies, and see what comes up next. Well, I was getting a nice high tone, about 25, and dug down, as you can see, I got the letter F. That's going to be a hood letter off of F-Series Ford pickup, probably, it's looking 80s to me. So, cool little find, just that I'd show it to you. Well, I came down to check on Chris, and he found something really awesome, actually.
That is an exquisite spoon, man.
Holy cow, that's a sweet spoon. Let me get in there.
I don't know if you can read it, but it says Newcomb.
Yeah. Let me see if I can get on. Yeah, it's got the, I'm assuming that's the last name of the family. It's kind of an unusual monogram.
Yeah.
But it's got a maker's mark on the back, too, right?
Super fancy. Yeah, it's Holmes and Edwards.
Wow. Silver plate.
Number 12, and there's some kind of little hallmark.
Wow.
Look how deep the bowl is.
Yeah. That's a
soup spoon.
Uh-huh. That is awesome, man.
Long handled.
That's going to be nice when I get it cleaned up.
Yeah. One of the prettier ones I found in a while.
I think you're probably looking at like 1910 on this one. That's very nice, man. Oof, nice
Happy
find.
with that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we'll buzz around here a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hunting alongside this parking lot, pretty near where we've been hunting. Got a 31-34 signal, really deep, and I broke it loose. I don't know what it is. You can see it right there. I just grabbed the camera. It looked interesting. Looks like a hinge. Yeah, let me get it out of the hole here. Oh yeah. Looks like an old trunk hinge or some type of old hinge. Definitely has some age to it. But that's pretty cool find. Yeah, Chris was hunting alongside the sidewalk, said he found something. Yeah, that is kind of different.
Look at that.
Yeah.
It's got a neat design to it. I guess it's a... I wonder if that was off a trunk.
Yeah, maybe. It's got a little hole here for a skeleton key, and
whatever
that might be a catch or something that came through. Or...
yeah, maybe you have a double lock.
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe after it cleans up, might see something, but...
Yep.
That's cool.
Definitely has some age.
Yeah.
Well, Chris and I jumped over across town to the old 1910 house permission we have, and Chris said ring.
There's still stuff here.
Yeah, check it out.
Yeah, it's got maybe 3 stones on it.
Yeah. That's interesting. Little costume jewelry. That's a big honker, though.
Yeah, that's pretty. Lord. Wow.
Some kind of men's ring.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
A heft to it. That's gonna clean up nice, I think.
Would that ring up?
26.
Yeah.
It wasn't down that deep.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll get that cleaned up and give you a better look at it. Looks like it has 2 red stones and a fake diamond in the center.
You're gonna call it already?
Yeah. Well, you know, I'll go out on a limb and say it's probably fake, but yeah. I like it. Well, it's hard to hear Chris across the property. This wind is so strong. He kept saying something. I'm like, okay, I'm coming. But check it out. I don't know if you guys can see it. Sitting inside the cloud of dirt there. Yeah, I can see it.
Oh, that looks thin.
Go ahead and tell them what you got.
Looks like a Merc.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Well, here you go. You can do the honors.
Let's see. Yeah, I got about 6 Wheaties. I kept waiting. I thought there'd be something here. Looks like a 30 something. Let me get down on it. 37.
37.
Nice. Ooh, look at the bands.
Yeah.
It's in good shape.
Yeah,
Philadelphia.
That'll work.
Nice.
Yeah, man, that wasn't even deep.
No.
Sweet.
Good area down here.
All right, well, guess who's going to be bottom feeding?
I figured.
Yeah, that'd be me. Chris got something else good. He's making up for being sick last weekend.
Yeah, definitely. Feeling a lot better.
That's good.
Man, I'm thinking this is some kind of railroad tag.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a baggage tag or a watch fob.
Yeah, well, I thought fob at first, but there's a number down here. You can just barely see.
Yeah,
something CCR or...
Yeah, I think that is definitely a railroad baggage tag, but...
It's chunky, though.
Oh, boy, I got my work cut out for me on that one.
Cleaning it up.
Yeah, that's a heck of a find now. Sweet. Well, we really couldn't make out much on that piece out in the field. So after I got home, I put that thing in apple cider vinegar for about a day and a half. Now I was finally able to start working on it, and it quickly became apparent that Chris had found himself a sweet bucket lister. He'd found his very first railroad baggage tag. And not just any baggage tag. This railroad started out life as a Confederate railroad. The R&D-RR stood for Richmond and Danville Railroad. Now this was a very important Confederate line that connected the Confederate capital Richmond with the rest of the Confederacy. And eventually it became part of the Southern Railway in 1896. Now the word local that's stamped on Chris's tag, it was meant as an instruction. And it meant that that particular piece of baggage was to remain on the home line or road and not to be transferred anywhere along the way. Now with so many baggage tags being made back in the day, you'd think they'd be pretty common. But actually the vast majority of them were donated to the scrap metal drives during World War I and World War II. And today, they're very hard to find and highly sought after by collectors. Well, just got done digging a couple wheats, 53 and a 55. Thought I had another one. It was actually ringing pretty high. I was kind of hoping maybe for some silver, but it's kind of cool. I got a Canadian penny And that one's going to be a 1945. So very cool. Don't get to dig those every day down here. Well, got a nice little 17 signal, and I was digging around for it. I found quite a few pieces of this teacup, and then I finally popped it out. You see that? How cool is that key? Oh man, that is pretty awesome looking. Definitely some age on that one. So very happy with that. I'll get it cleaned up and give you a better look at it. But oh, that's just a killer looking key. Well, it's kind of interesting signal, and kind of fitting with the train in the background. I found this. It was actually driven into the ground. I finally got it out. Yeah, railroad spike. And the train is right on cue. So I always like finding these, and I guess someone had hammered that one into the ground. Took me a little while to get it out. Well, next signal was just a little bit underneath the surface. Very windy today, and I've got a very old clock winding key. That's a pretty cool little find. So I'll take that and stick that in the pouch. Well, Chris got a couple things here.
Look at that thing.
It's
a fancy button.
That is.
It's got some gold wash on it.
That's pretty cool. Let's see if I can. Wow, that's pretty neat.
Different design, huh?
Yeah. Very cool.
Sinkage.
And you got something else too?
Yeah, that popped out a couple of holes ago.
I think, I don't know how many we found since we started doing YouTube.
Enough to do a car.
Maybe a fleet of cars.
Yeah.
Nice little early valve stem cap for a Model T. And right where we're at right now, there used to be 2 or 3 Victorian homes that stood here. And we're just poking around, and surprisingly, there's a lot of signals.
Yeah.
Well, my next target was ringing up a 15, and I got this tiny little pin. Let's see where the pin was on the backside. It's very old. It's got the cross. It's got a banner across the top, but has a letter S on either side of the cross. And I'm thinking this is probably a pretty old Sunday school pin. I'll see if I can get it cleaned up. I worked on it just a little bit to get it to this, but pretty cool little find. Probably going to be 30s. Could be a little older, but nice little find. So this one kind of gave me a little scare. I got a 21, popped it out and saw the glimmer of silver, and it was kind of small, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh. But not silver, but still pretty cool. It isn't too bad for y'all. And it's very cool. It's Red Goose shoes for girls. And on the other side it says Red Goose. Hang on, almost dropped it there. Red Goose premium money, 10 cents. So I thought it was going to be a play coin, but it's actually a Red Goose shoe token, and that is my first. So very cool, very happy to have that. Well, I headed over here to Chris. He said he got some...
it's a 3-ringer, but not the normal kind.
Yeah, that's a small caliber.
Yeah. I don't know, that's some kind of Colt variation, or...
Yeah, it's hard to tell. Let me get it in the light here so you can see it.
It's a right patina. I got a 3-ringer here before.
Yep, I've dug musket balls here.
Yeah.
But, yep, I would definitely say it's the right era. So, we have dug some Civil War artifacts here, so nice little recovery there. Well, I got a nice coin. It was giving me a 12, about 3-4 inches down, and I plug and boom, right there. And I think I saw the outline. I haven't picked it up yet. I think it's on nothing. Yeah, can you see it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Chief.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Well, finally got a decent coin. Okay, I don't know. I'm just asking Chris, what is up with me in the end of the day? Holy cow. I'm digging a 28, and it's nice and tight, about 7-8 inches down. I'm expecting a dime, hoping for a dime. I told him I'll take another 64 Rosie, but check out what's in the hole. Holy cow, it's big. It's like $half size. There's a bust.
Is that another four?
Oh my gosh, look at that. Can you see it? See the head?
Yeah.
It is heavy. It's like bigger than a large cent. What the heck?
What is it?
I don't know.
It's gotta be foreign.
Let me, hang on guys. Oh my gosh, look at it.
Is that the back?
Yeah, it's a commemorative.
It's a token?
No, commemorative. Like a real commemorative. But it's not silver. See, 1833 to 1933? Oh my gosh.
Holy crap.
I told him, I said, I don't know what it is, but I usually come up with something weird right at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Well, let us get this cleaned up. Ooh, wow. That was awesome. And we'll let you know what it is, but it looks like some sort of commemorative. Woo. All right, we'll be right back. Okay, guys. Now, this is a 30s coin, and it has Franklin Roosevelt on the front, and it says a New Deal at the top. And, of course, that was the famous New Deal back then.
Yeah.
But check out the other side, guys. This is where it just gets phenomenal. Look at this. It has an Indian chief with full bonnet and a winged liberty. Or is that an eagle? No, that's
Liberty.
It's a Lady Liberty with an eagle on her head.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, or winged cap or something. But this is a Chicago World's Fair, Century of Progress, 1833 and 1933. Holy cow, I'm so stoked.
That thing's in nice shape.
My grandfather went to this World's Fair, and I have things that he brought back, a lot of Century of World Progress pieces.
Yeah.
And this is going to sit right next to the stuff that he got.
How cool.
I am just so happy to have this. You have no idea. Because I love the Chicago World's Fair pieces. Mainly because my grandfather. And this is going to sit right next to the box that he brought back from the World's Fair. And the medal. How cool is that, guys? I've never seen this one. Whew. What a way to end the day. Oh, baby. Well, I have to say, I was so surprised by that huge coin in the hole, and I was even more happy to be able to add it to my grandfather's pieces when he visited the Chicago World's Fair back in 1933. Now, you don't want to miss these great historical photos from our country's illustrious past that I have coming up in just a few seconds. And remember, history always makes that find a treasure, and I cannot wait to see you back here next week on Finding America.